So welcome to this discussion. This is the Pass the Bar team. So basically what we do at Pass the Bar, we bring you analysis of every workshop on our YouTube platforms, and also we have a social media channel on WhatsApp where we keep updating you. But first and foremost, I want to congratulate you upon reaching at LDC. LDC isn't as difficult as you are told. Make sure that you follow PA's advice and also video notes. Then you are in position to pass the bar. So basically, I shall always be taking you through analysis of every workshop. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel so as you don't miss any updates as far as the workshop is concerned. So today I'll be taking you through family law practice, and we have been training or coaching students for the last 3 years. And in case you want to join our mentorship program where we prepare for oral exams, make them simplified, help you in drafting, improve your drafting skills, help you to be as confident as you can in mooting, and also give you notes about the workshop, you can reach me on the number on the WhatsApp, and then you'll be in position to reach to us. We are basically a team of 5 advocates who takes you through the law development center. So family law practice, we are dealing with marriage, nullity of marriages, separation, and resolution of marriage. So first and foremost, I want to take you through what happens, because I remember when I was the first time at LDC, I was wondering how are we able to discuss all this one in 2 hours. So basically what happens, you will go and study according to your timetable. At least you always have like 2 classes in a day, always the workshop and sometimes some category B exam, but always you don't get more than 2 classes in a day. So what happens in workshop 1, of course you will be studying as your farm. If your timetable is at 8 p.m., 8 a.m., just come into class and the PA is supposed to guide you. So you are supposed to divide your farm into several groups, at least 4 groups or 3, and then each group is supposed to present a particular task. For example, part A, part B, and part 3. So you will have a group leader who will basically lead you in your presentations of what you have prepared. And sometimes the PA can pause around and ask a few questions, but don't fear PAs, because in case you don't know the question, then one of your colleagues can always answer. But it's always advisable to come into the class prepared, because rarely sometimes the PA can ask you, and always they want to hear your mind. Don't fear PAs, they are there to help us, so to make our life really easy. So don't fear PAs, but always come prepared. At least you must have looked at your workshop and understanding what your workshop is all about, as you can make your journey easier. So I remember when I first started LDC, I first feared to speak in class, to give my opinions in class, but as time went on, I became confident. So the lesson I would give to you is don't fear, just give your mind, and the PAs will appreciate. Go with the sections. Sometimes their questions are always around the section you are presenting on. You find that you have only looked at a subsection, then they will ask you on what in subsection like 3, because they understand most of us have not just looked at all the entire section. So always try to look at the entire section in case they ask you a question. So having said that, for those people who will come into our mentorship program as Pass the Bar, I shall continuously interact with you, giving you tips of such kind. Members pay a monthly subscription fee, and of course we give you 2 weeks guarantee. 2 weeks guarantee, and if you're not happy, 100% refund. So we trust what we do. We have been doing this for the last 3 years, and we really understand that once you subscribe to our program, then what we can promise you is you're going to have an easy journey at LDC, save you time, and at the end of the day, you're going to pass the bar as well. So let me give you an analysis of this workshop and what basically you are expected to understand as a student. So we dealt with marriages at our undergraduate, but remember at our undergraduate we are not dealing with documents and procedures. Some of these things are going to be new, but they are very easy if you come with an open mind and shut your mind off all those negative words about LDC, that LDC is hard, that LDC you are overworked. The good thing now, you are not required to make handwritten notes, so please get notes in PDFs. Then you can always read those ones, so make sure that most of your time is in understanding the law more than writing the notes. Of course, I have a lot of advice to give to you from my experience, from the experience of students we have coached. So if you really can afford to meet a monthly fee of just 100,000, you can just pay you can reach us and pay, and then meet the 5 advocates who really can simplify the law cost for you, the LDC cost for you, and then you can happily stay at LDC doing your other engagements. But if you cannot afford that budget, I understand, just for our YouTube channel, because every workshop will be analyzed, giving you tips every day, and that one also is going to be able to help you. So we are dealing with marriages. You understand what's the definition of a marriage in Hyde versus Hyde. The court is saying that a marriage is a union of 2 or more people. That means if you marry a person, then you are not supposed to marry another person. We shall look at the narrative of marriages, separation and dissolution of marriages. So this module covers marriages, separation and dissolution of marriages. Marriage is very important in society, as it is the foundation of a family, which is the foundation of society. It is therefore important to know what marriage is and to identify valid marriage. Spouses have rights and duties. It is important to learn the skills of enforcing the rights and duties of parties to a marriage. Students should also be able to identify marriage, which is a nullity, and to apply the procedure of obtaining a decree of nullity. Note the nullity of marriage is different from the dissolution of marriage. So first and foremost, if you remember very well, in the case of Mayambara versus Mayambara, the courts have been clear and said that first and foremost they cannot separate what they have never joined. So a marriage is null, is invalid or can be nullified if it is invalid ab initio. And I think we also look at contracts, the difference between void and voidable contracts. So we also have a void and voidable marriage. So a void marriage can be nullified. So let me give you an example. Assuming that you enter into a marriage with someone who is underage, that is a void marriage. So that marriage can be nullified. So grounds which can nullify marriage include: 1, underage, and lack of consent, misrepresentation. So basically, where you don't have a valid marriage, you go for nullification. And I think the Marriage Act, I think the Divorce Act, because Section 11 of the Divorce Act talks about nullification of marriages. If you read Section 11 of the Divorce Act, as well as grounds which nullify a marriage. But one of those grounds which nullify a marriage include, first and foremost, if you marry someone who is in a subsisting marriage. Let me assume that I am into a church marriage, but I have not told you. Then we also get into a customary marriage. So basically, that marriage can be nullified. It can't be divorced. So the difference between divorce and nullification is: for divorce, you can only divorce a valid marriage, whereas nullification, if a marriage is void, and grounds which make a marriage voidable include: 1, underage, when there is a subsisting marriage, misrepresentation, lack of consent. Then all those things can lead to nullification of marriage. So let me give an example. Assume that you want to marry Justin Bieber. At our undergraduate, even at high school, most of the girls really liked Justin Bieber. So if I just come and I say I'm a Mzungu and I say I'm Justin Bieber, maybe have done some face surgery and I'm sort of like Justin Bieber, and then you marry me thinking that I'm Justin Bieber. So you see that marriage would be voidable. That marriage would be voidable because you thought you were marrying Justin Bieber and yet I'm not Justin Bieber. So if you later find out that I'm not Justin Bieber, you can go and nullify that marriage. So that's one of the examples I can give you. But for those of you who are going to come into our mentorship as Pass the Bar, we shall continuously interact with you because some of these principles must be understood. Then that's when your oral exams are going to become very easy, because in an oral exam they can ask you what's the difference between a void and voidable marriage, and give us examples which can void a marriage, or what's the difference between nullification of marriage and divorce. So the bit about Pass the Bar is we begin to prepare for oral exams as soon as you enter. So by the time you leave, then you're confident about passing oral exams. So however much oral exams are always feared at LDC, but oral exams are one of those exams that are really easy to pass, So the MOD also covers separation, dissolution of marriage, and matters incidental thereto, including custody, maintenance of the issue of the marriage, and matters of property. So basically, when we talk about separation, we shall also look at separation and divorce. You understand that separation, if we have a valid marriage and now people want to separate, instead of going for divorce, you can first go for separation. So separation can be either by agreement or by court. So separation can either be by agreement and by court, but this arises where there is a valid marriage. So you can just choose to stay apart, like for 2 years maybe, before you begin to engage. So you have to distinguish between separation as well as divorce. So when you have a divorce, remember you have a decree nisi and a decree absolute, which later now finishes the marriage. But it's always advisable as one of the ADR to go into separation by agreement, because you can just go for 1 year or 2 years apart according to how you have agreed, and then you come back together. It is also very important for students to explore alternative dispute mechanisms for settling matrimonial disputes. So one of the ADR mechanisms in marriage, you have separation by agreement, because separation by agreement, the man and woman come together and renegotiate. Students should draft relevant legal documents such as a petition seeking a declaration that the marriage is nullified and a decree of nullity of marriage, a separation deed, a petition for judicial separation, a petition for dissolution of marriage, relevant court orders, and decree. So basically, we shall look at a petition. Most of us who have not been in practice or in court haven't looked at really these documents, and LDCs will be emphasizing on drafting these documents. So please, if you want to master the art of drafting, if you feel like you're not good at drafting, please come to Pass the Bar, because we shall take you through paragraph by paragraph of basically how do you do the drafting of a document. Because remember, in oral exams they can ask you to draft a petition for nullifying a marriage or a petition for divorcing a marriage. So that's why it's important to make a decision at this time that for me I want to be a student who masters drafting. Because remember, in court, if you want to be a litigant or a litigating lawyer, you have to be a master of drafting, and drafting is not really hard. And if you can really come to us, then we can really help you crack the secret of how do you master, or of how do you draft very important documents. So we shall look at how do you draft a petition, and basically a verified petition, and documents which accompany a petition, including, of course, to summons, among others. So learning aims develop the ability to advise in the existence of a valid marriage. So what makes a marriage valid? Of course, understand under Article 31 of the Constitution. Also look at the case of Hyde versus Hyde, that a marriage can be valid. First and foremost, it must all be about 18 years and above, and then it must also satisfy the requirements of that particular type of marriage. Remember, we have different types of marriages. One, customary marriage, which must be according to the customs of a specific African culture. You read the case of Ivan Bruno Chua and Ivan Serunkuma, because has really discussed about customary marriages, especially to do with Buganda. Remember that these people from the same clan in Buganda wanted to marry each other, and one of the clan elders petitioned that they shouldn't get married. That was Bruno Chua and Ivan Serunkuma. Also, and Juliet Namazi. I remember this is one of the cases we must have met at least in legal methods, and of course, court stated that according to the Buganda clan or the customary marriage in Buganda, people from the same clan are not allowed to marry each other. So that's the case of Ivan Serunkuma, Juliet Namazi, and where one of the elder clans petitioned. So you have to really pay attention to that. We also have church marriage, and I think we have that case of Watoto Church. There's one of the lawyers who petitioned that Watoto Church, we are forcing him to go for an HIV test, and for him he didn't want to go for an HIV test. And the court comes in and says, look, if you have opted to go for a church marriage and you have opted for a particular church, you must follow with the requisites of that particular church. If they wanted to go for HIV test, then you also have to go to HIV testing. So that's also that. I think Juliet, it's a case about Watoto Church. For those of us who are going to come into our discussion group, of course, we're going to discuss it in detail, which also speaks to church marriage. Then also have civil marriage. Remember that civil marriage takes place before the registrar. We have the Marriage Act, which governs civil marriage. There must be a notice, must be into a licensed press. So all those ones makes civil marriage valid. Then develop the ability to advise on separation and dissolution of marriage. We have distinguished between separation, because separation can either be by agreement or by judicial separation. So basically, separation is the parties agree and says we want a break. For those of you who have been in relationships, one of the words I don't want to hear is we need to talk. So we need to talk is one of those words which really makes people uncomfortable, especially for men or boys. I remember one time in a relationship, one of my girlfriend told me that we need to talk, and I was very, very now I didn't even sleep. So please always avoid that word, we need to talk. Just say the person, come here and we talk. Then you speak that word. But don't tell the person that we need to talk, and the person doesn't spend the whole day worried about what we need to talk, as if it's word or three. But of course, that one, take it as a joke. But separation is a break. We need to have a break. That's what we can call separation. Then dissolution, under Section 4 of the Divorce Act, of course, gives us the grounds for which can come to an end of the marriage. One, we have, of course, adultery, cruelty, and desertion. I have the case of, I think, FIDA Uganda versus Anthony General, which discussed the grounds for separation of a marriage, and specifically that all grounds must apply to all of the parties in a marriage. Dissolution of marriage grounds for dissolution of each type of marriage recognized under the laws. The grounds are the same for all of them, except Islamic marriages also gives us some other grounds, but grounds are really major those three. Presenting and prosecuting a petition for declaring a marriage a nullity, a petition for dissolution of marriage, and extracting the relevant court orders. Of course, we shall look at how do you deal this in MOD. How do you go into court and argue that your petitioner or one of the person's marriage is divorced, basically by substantiating on these three grounds, adultery, cruelty, and desertion. If you can prove one, then the court can give you a decree and finally decree absolute. So for those of us who are going to come into our mentorship as past the bar, we are going to be very specific on how do you deal with moods, because most of us want to be future practitioners. We have been dreaming about wearing the gown and appearing in court. Here at the past the bar, we really make your dream come true. So we shall look at ADR of matrimonial disputes. One of them is separation by agreement. It's also one of the ADR mechanisms. and ethical matters, including not overcharging your client, avoiding conflict of interest, the best interest principle in children matters, among others. So students are advised to read and make notes on the following: domicile. Remember that the domicile is where you have opted to call home, and have the case of son still versus son still. I think that case is a very locus classicus as far as the domicile is concerned. Types of domicile can be domiciled by birth, by choice, and by marriage. So those ones also important to understand, because first and foremost, in every petition, you must prove that you're domiciled in Uganda, and also it can be an oral question, but the domicile basically looks at where you have opted to call home, and you can look at the case of Sonstone versus Sonstone. Then we have void and voidable marriages. Of course, I've talked about void and voidable marriages, and even I think the Marriage Act or the Divorce Act, in those interpretation sections, defines void and voidable marriages. But the definition of a void and voidable marriage is, if you understood what is a void and voidable contract, still the same concept. Void marriages is invalid ab initio. Voidable can be opted out by the affected party. Consummation of marriage. Consummation is a very big topic, because remember, consummation can also lead to nullification of marriage. Remember that marriage becomes effective in bed. I always joke and tell around my students that you get married in church, celebrate in the hotel, and finish it in bed. So basically, the marriage takes us through steps from church, hotel to bed. That's when the marriage is complete. So consummation is a very technical thing, but also it can be very funny, because courts have come to define what is consummation. Is it penetration? And if it's penetration, how wide should it be? Is it wide? Is it narrow? Is it at the entrance? So the courts have also defined penetration. If you look at R versus R, however slight it might be, but it might be something that can rule ejaculation. However, the courts have said that you don't need to satisfy the other person, because satisfaction, most of women have said they are not always satisfied by men. So that's not a ground for consummation. The courts have been very brief in defining consummation, and they have said where there is penetration, however slight it might be, not in a study sexual satisfaction, then that one can be looked as consummation. But remember, if there is no consummation, however much valid, however much or other requirements of a marriage have been satisfied, by that one is not a valid marriage. So if there was no consummation, you can still go for nullification. So marriage is only marriage concluded after consummation. So the legal implications of marriage, of course, including taking the name of your husband, becoming one, entitled to sexual intercourse, among others. The rights and duties of married people, of course, you have to take care of your family, raise children, among others. The effect and implication of suspension of conjugal rights. Remember, conjugal rights also come from consummation. These are like sexual rights, the right to have sex with the other person. And I think we have the case of Uganda versus Yiga Hamida. That case of Uganda versus Yiga Hamida is very funny, because this person were customary married. The wife had just come into this marriage customarily. Then he got documents that the previous wife had died of HIV. Then she went back home. Then Yiga Hamida gets his bouncers. They go and kidnap this wife, and then he forces him to have sex with him. And of course, now he goes to court, and they are prosecuting him for rape, and he says this is my wife, and therefore I'm entitled to have sexual intercourse with her. Of course, I think Justice Chibuka Musoke says no. First and foremost, the Penal Code Act doesn't exempt married couples from committing rape, and it says, of course, even married couples can commit rape. So be aware that if your wife says no, then that's one is no. Otherwise, you can be charged of rape. So this is about conjugal rights. Conjugal rights can only be waived in instances of, for example, where we have conjugal rights can be waived in instances of, for example, it's a disease, it's a medical condition, birth, That's when you can waive conjugal rights. But very funny, the civil procedure rules says that you can go and get a restoration order for conjugal rights. If you have looked at the civil procedure act rules, you can get a restoration order for conjugal rights, but I wonder how do you implement that, because are they going to come to court to your bed to make sure that they have given you? So you can see it can be very funny. However much you can go and get restoration of conjugal rights, but the implementation really remains lacking. Procedure for obtaining a special license for purposes of celebrating marriage and under the Marriage Act. So basically, this special license arises in situations where you want to go to the beach. You have had marriages being conducted at the beach, so you need what we call a special license. All the reliefs and orders which can be awarded in matrimonial proceedings. We have looked at restoration of conjugal rights, matrimonial property, custody of children, how to obtain a license for a place of worship. The Marriage Act also can apply to the constitutional minister to get a license. I think sections 21 to 27 gives us the process. All the reliefs and orders which can be awarded in matrimonial proceedings, custody order, matrimonial property, divorce, separation order, among others. And this one can be an oral question. Most students were asked us, give us 7 orders which can be awarded in matrimonial proceedings. So the bit about pass the bar, we prepare for orals as soon as you start. So by the time you reach in term 2, you will have an easy journey as far as orals are concerned. Grounds for divorce, absolute and discretionary bars for divorce. We talked about grounds for divorce include, of course, adultery, cruelty, and desertion. These ones are in section 4 of the Divorce Act. Then also have condonation, collusion, and connivance. These ones must be in your petition, that there was no condonation, connivance, and collusion. So basically, you cannot agree with your husband, with your wife or husband in the marriage, because marriage is looked at the best interest of society. And remember, the church is saying that whatever God has joined, no one can separate. But the courts are saying, no, for us we can separate it. But remember, still for courts to separate that marriage, they must make sure that it was irretrievable, broken down beyond repair. All reliefs and orders which can be awarded in matrimonial proceedings are looked at: custody order, matrimonial property, divorce, among others. Grounds for divorce, dissolution of Hindu marriages covered under the Hindu Marriages Act, still the same grounds, but you have to look at the Hindu Marriages Act. Dissolution of customary marriages in Uganda. Of course, the grounds in section 4 also apply, and dissolution of Islamic marriages, also the grounds in section 4 apply. So we shall heavily rely on the Marriage Act, the Customary Marriages Act, basically those ones. Then the cases, we have awarded Sonsteel versus Sonsteel. We have talked about Christian versus Herbert, church marriages, Hyde versus Hyde, customary marriages, Mufini versus Anthony General, which basically challenged the payment of bride price. These were women from Fort Portal, Mifumi. And of course, the court said that the payment of bride price is constitutional because just appreciation. Then it's marriages, narrative of marriages, void and void marriages, consummation of marriages. I've talked about that. So basically, that's the introduction. So if you have listened to this introduction and understood it, that's what we shall be discussing in the workshop. For those of us who want a thorough discussion about the workshop, please reach us on 07567678284. So as you can join our mentorship program, but members pay monthly subscription fee. Then let me just take you through the workshop briefly, because I see we have now 30 minutes to have used 30 minutes, and most of the students always don't have much time. So I'm going to be brief and tell you how to go about each topic. Then for those of you who want a thorough discussion, you can always come into our WhatsApp. Then if you can pay our subscription, then you can join and add in our group, because now we have used 30 minutes. I cannot be in a position to discuss the whole workshop in detail, but just let me summarize for you to give you a clue. So by the end of this workshop, you should be able to determine the existence of a valid marriage, draft the various legal documents relating to narrative marriage, present and prosecute a petition for narrative marriage, recognize and deal with issues. So assume that you are a legal assistant with MC Ogwal and company advocates. Mr. Ogwal assigned you the matters whose facts are summarized in parts 1 and 2 below. You have Kasim Simbi met and fell in love with Jenna Kansime while they were students at McKinney University. 6 months after their graduation in 2016, Kasim secured employment in the United Arab Emirates. He could not travel with Jenna to UAE because they were not married. In November 2016, Kasim visited Jenna parents and subsequently paid bride price for her. However, he took 10 out of 15 cows which her parents asked for her. Her parents allowed him to take Jenna as his wife and they lived together. Kasim and Jenna registered their marriage, but the UAE embassy rejected their customary marriage registration certificate. Kasim's friends advised him to marry Jenna before the register of marriages in order to save time and to obtain a marriage certificate from a government office, which the UAE embassy would certainly recognize. In January 2017, Kasim and Jenna got married before the register of marriages, Kampala City. They were issued with a marriage certificate. None of them considered this a lawful marriage since Kasim was a Muslim and Jenna was a Christian. Fortunately, they were able to travel as spouses to UAE where they settled and worked until 2021 when they returned to Uganda. In 2022, they could no longer live together because they had irreconcilable differences. Since they believed that their marriage ceremony before the register of marriages was a marriage of connivance and not binding, each of them decided to marry a different person. In 2023, Kasim married Madina Kisa at Chiburi Mosque because Madina is a true believer and staunch Muslim. Kasim and Madina are blessed with triplets aged 2. Jenna moved on and is now married to Ernest Bongo, whom she met at Holy Trinity Church, Sunday in Wakiso District. Pastor Nzoro founded the Holy Trinity Church after he was laid off from work. The church is housed in a shelter with cheap congregated iron sheets, which he constructed over a piece of land for which he pays. In June 2024, Jenna and Ernest were wed at the mass wedding at Holy Trinity Church. Pastor Yasin Zoro officiated over this mass wedding. Pastor Zoro met all the costs of this mass wedding. Unfortunately, Jenna is currently very depressed because Ernest Bongo has been very cruel to her over time. He has also committed adultery not only with their house helpers but also with several women. So basically here, these facts raise a lot of issues. First and foremost, if you're discussing part 1, you just raise up, introduce yourself, give brief facts, raise issues, and then discuss. So if you're 10 members in your group and you're doing this part 1, one can deal with part 1, the other can deal with task 2, one can deal with task 3, and then you make your presentations which you'll have in your workshop. So basically, the PA sometimes ask a very few questions, but be confident enough to give them your mind. It's not necessarily it must be right, but as long as you give them your mind. So first and foremost, we can see these people who went into a customer marriage. They didn't fully pay the cows. However, the case, we have John Worth Edoku saying that non-full payment of bind price can lead to an invalid marriage. However, in light of the position in Mufumi vs. Anthony General, the court is saying no, non-full payment of the cows does not invalidate a marriage. However, we can see in paragraph 2, the same people goes into a civil marriage, and they now have a full civil marriage. So that one is okay because this is now a valid civil marriage, and now they later breaks up. And remember, if you have a valid marriage, it's only a court which can bring that marriage to an end. Now for them, they think their marriage is not valid, and then each one goes each separate ways. So the impact of that is these other marriages they all go into, they can all be nullified because we have first and foremost, we have an existing valid customary marriage and also a civil marriage. But since the parties opted to change their customary marriage to civil marriage, that one is okay. So we shall only take a civil marriage. Because remember, customary marriage, if you look at section 13 of the Customary Marriages Act, you cannot contract any other marriage if you have a customary marriage. However, for the same parties, you can agree to change your marriage from custom marriage to church marriage, as long as you're same parties. Now, I don't understand whether you're really following me. I could be a little bit fast, but because the time is really a lot and most of us are using data, in case you want to understand these principles, please come to the Pass the Bar mentorship program. We proceed slowly by slowly, and throughout the week we have discussions on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with different lawyers or advocates who are really good at discussing, because we have opted for the best, retain the best students and you will be able to understand these principles, because these principles will be the focus of your oral exams, will be your focus of your IAs, and will be your focus of your final exams. And it might not be easy for you to hear them from me and understand them. So that's why I really encourage you, if you can afford 100,000 per month, just come into our discussion. We have given you 2 weeks guarantee, 100% refund. If you come into our discussions for 2 weeks or 1 week and you feel like they are not making sense to you, you don't understand what you are saying, then you can say, Ramsey, please, for me, I think they have not made sense to me. Please give me back my 100,000. I will refund to you 100,000. Or maybe if you come to our discussion for 2 weeks and you get an emergency and you feel like you want to spend your money elsewhere, go and buy a nice shoe. You are moving at the Mbara Street, or maybe the Rira Street, or the Mbari Street, or the Kampala Street, and you looked at a very good shoe and you feel like you would better spend your 100k to buy that shoe than being past the ban. Just tell me, if you are still within 2 weeks that from I just want my money back, I will give you 100,000 and you go and buy your nice shoe. But for those of you who understand that the best investment you can make is yourself, please come into the Pass the Bar. So the request of these relationships, I've looked at them. I have a customary marriage, civil marriage, and also other types of marriages, church marriages. So shall be looking at each marriage and the value of each. The remedies, if any, which are available to James, students, and legal documents. And here basically what they are going to be doing is notifying the marriage, because James, if you look at here, Jenna moved on and is now married to Ernest, whom she met at Holy Trinity Church, Sunday in Maxwell District. Pastor Yasin Zoro founded the Holy Trinity Church after he was laid off. We can see also in 2012 they could no longer live together because they had irreconcilable differences. Unfortunately, Jenna is currently very depressed because Ernest Bongo has been very close to her over time. We can see Jenna married Peter Matovu. Jenna and Peter intend to wed at St. Francis Chapel. They're asking us the remedies if you're available to Jenna. So here we can go for Jenna can go for notification of the marriage. Whether Jenna can conduct a valid church marriage with Peter Mwavu, because it is always a subsisting marriage. So if you nullify the above marriage, so the assumption here is now you have nullified the above marriage. If you already nullified the marriage, then you can go and contract church marriage. Of course, we shall have notes on this. Then part 2, following Peter Zoro's request for legal advice, Mr. Ongwar has requested you for legal opinion on the steps which Pastor Zoro should take in order to ensure that Holy Trinity Church becomes a licensed place of worship. So remember that for you to have a valid marriage, also you must be before a licensed priest and a licensed minister. So if those things are not, if you are in a church which is not licensed, if I put up a church and just come, the church is not licensed, and also the person is not licensed, then that one is an invalid marriage. So the steps to have the church licensed, I think if you look at section 5, section 21 and 27 of the Marriage Act, you'll be in position to look at, it gives you the processes, the procedures. You have to apply the line ministry, have the constitution, then they can license your church. Then part B, Mr. Ogwara's clients Joseph Demba and Valentine Kwagara wish to get married on 31st January before they leave Uganda. They would like to get married at their partial residence at Entebbe. Their home commands a very beautiful view. So basically here also we are looking at how do you have to celebrate your marriage at a beach. First and foremost, if you have to get a license from the minister, still the Marriage Act, I think section 2721, one of those ones covers those ones. How do you get a marriage at the beach? The steps which you should take in order to ensure that Joseph and Valentine contracted marriage at their partial home. So you have to apply to the minister to get a license of that place. So always in discussion, Group A discusses Part A, Group B discusses Part B. So you can put up like three lawyers who can discuss for you on your behalf. So the edit is as that. It's teamwork. It's teamwork. Then see Simon Musana and Madina Nema met in Canada in 2024. They are both Ugandans. They returned to Uganda in 2016 and lived together as husbands and wife. When Madina's parents insisted on her getting married officially in 2020, Simon Musana and Madina celebrated their marriage at Madina's parents' home at Kansanga, Kampala City. Before the ceremony, Madina's parents' home at Kansanga. Before the ceremony started, Sheikh Hassan Koja, who presided over this ceremony, asked Simon Musana whether he was ready to convert Islam, and he said yes. Then Sheikh Koja read him Shada, which means I bear witness that there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. Simon was instructed to repeat these words in Arabic, which he did. Solomon, and then the marriage ceremony was conducted. Sheikh Koja pressed upon them a sparkling and spotless white handkerchief, the sign that they had been united in marriage. For Mahar, Madina asked for 5 million Uganda shillings, for which Masana instantly paid. The balance ceremony is still unpaid. Having left Madina in 2023, Masana married Solomon Malanje at All Saints Church in Tinda, Kampala, under the name Simon Masana. This was on August 2023. Masana and Solomon Murunji are blessed with 2 daughters. In 2025, Madina filed a petition for dissolution of her marriage to Musana on the grounds, among others, of change of religion and adultery. When this matter came up for the first hearing, which was yesterday, counsel for the respondent raised the primary objection to the effect that there is no valid marriage between Madina and Masana because Masana's purported conversion to Islam was very casual and only a joke, and that he certainly did not convert to Islam. Secondly, Masana did not pay mahar in full. Counsel for the petitioner submitted in reply that the parties contracted a valid marriage. The trial judge, Justice T. Kabiona, adjourned the matter in order to prepare her ruling on the preliminary objection. Research assistant judge prepared the ruling. So basically here they want us to make a ruling, and of course they have given us the issues. 1, where the marriage was contracted. 2, whether the non-payment of the mahar invalidates the marriage, and whether of course the marriage was valid. So basically we shall be ruling on those specific issues. First and foremost, we can see now, first and foremost, for one to be a Muslim, first you have to be, was it? So those are the issues we shall have in our judgment, and then according to what your opinion is, first you have to put the law and the cases, and then make the judgment. Then part 3, in 2020, Simon Kisoro married Alice Amujongo, a famous Ugandan musician, in accordance with the customs of the artist. Simon Kasoro paid her bride price in full. They have unresolved issues. One of the problems is that Alice wants Simon to wed her in church. Jong has been having an affair with Simon Kasoro's driver. Alice and Abdul Musoro will get married on 31st before the registry of marriage is Kampala City. Simon Kasoro is anxious about the embarrassment that this will cause him and the impact that the publicity will have on his job. Is also concerned about the impact it will have on their children. Simon Kasoro loves Alice, although she is childish and short-sighted. So he is willing to spend time and money to pursue meaningful reconciliation with Alice and does not want his driver to marry her. So we see in 2020, Simon Kasoro married Alice, famous Ugandan musician, in accordance with the customs of the artists. Simon Kasoro paid her bride price in full. They have unresolved issues. One of the problems is that, so basically here we can go for separation by agreement or judicial separation, and then for them to reconcile for a moment. So that's what we'll be looking at here. So Kasori is willing to spend time and money to pursue meaningful reconciliation with Alice and does not want his driver to marry her. Draft the relevant legal documents. So here we shall look at separation by agreement and also separation, initial separation. So handing in workshops. The tasks indicated are for purposes of structuring the discussions in class. They are not meant to apportion tasks to a particular group of students in a firm. Such group students should prepare for all the tasks indicated. Students should prepare for all the tasks indicated. The professor advisor will pick upon any student to present any part of the workshops. Class present a task assigned by the professional advisor will result in advanced assessment or rejection from class. I have introduction of the workshop by professor advisor. We have done that. Discussion of part 1, we have done that. Discussion of parts 2, part 3, and wrap up and questions. Students who refuse or fail to participate when picked upon will be ejected from the class. Every student must prepare notes for all the tasks and set documents. So workshop 2, by the end of the workshop, students should be able to identify the grounds for separation, identify grounds for dissolution of marriage, advise on rights of spouses on event of separation or divorce, regarding custody of children and property, draft various legal documents relating separation and dissolution of marriage, prosecute a petition for judicial separation on the one hand and petition for dissolution of marriage on the other, then deal with ESCO issues. So basically here we have judicial separation. I've talked about that, where you go to court to separate. Divorce generally grounds for divorce, court, adultery, and desertion. Then we have divorce under Islam. We can also have fasik and by wife, by husband. Matrimonial property, we have the case of course, you just have never thought by him somewhere. That husband and wife should share properties equally upon divorce. Let us run through part A. In July 2011, Muhammad married Nena at his home at Chibudi. This followed Joanta's conversion to Islam. She adopted the name of Suraina. After their marriage ceremony, they lived together at Chibudi. They have 2 children. In January 2020, Muhammad left their home at Chibudi. He switched off all his mobile telephones. He has not contacted Suraina in any way since she left their home. Sandra was to get married to Zakayo Songa, who has given her undivided attention since Muhammad left her. She does not know how to terminate her relationship with her husband. Advice on types of divorce are recognized under Islam law. So under Islam law, we can have by wife, by husband, and then by agreement. I think when you have fasik, talak, but they have Islamic names. China has considered your advice in above. What remains are very China, what prepared documents. So we can have a petition. We can also draft a petition, because we can also have to go to court and draft a petition. B. Andrew Gumsils and Kata Katsumi cohabited for 2 years from 2018. Andrew Gumsils, his father, his 2 brothers, his 3 sisters, and his 2 friends visited Kata Kansumi's parents. The bride price was 2 million Uganda shillings and 5 cows. The function was attended by many other people, including the villagers. After the feast and celebrations, Andrew Gumsils returned to their home at Nachubare Bushenyi. Andrew and Kate are blessed with 3 children. Kate bought a heifer which has 4 offsprings. In 2020, they pulled money and imported a Toyota Hiace from Japan. In 2020, Andrew Gumsils bought land at Ishaka. In December, they contributed money in Eco shares and bought a plot of land at Masaka. In January 2024, Andrew left their home and has since not returned. Lost 1 tooth. She also sustained serious injuries. So basically, you can see this. We are looking at divorcing customary marriage. Advise Kate on ways in which she can lawfully terminate her relationship with Andrew. Divorce and basically have the grounds for divorce. We shall also be drafting a petition. I think this is customary marriage. Then C, we have Anthony Zimara married at St. Francis Church. By 20, Mary had not given birth to any child. The land at Ruero, he registered the names. So basically, in part 3, ADR, we can look at separation by agreement. What further information do you require in order to advise how effectively split of this option during such documents? You need marriage certificate, birth certificate for children. The ADR option is failed, we have to go for divorce. So here shall be looking at divorce. We shall be looking at divorce petition for church marriage. Then part D, in the mechanism above failed, mother is sure that she cannot save her marriage. Advise Mary on the means available to her. If you consider court action necessary, the relevant documents. So basically, so part above we are looking at separation by agreement. Then below we are looking at how do you end the customary marriage. So we shall be drawing a petition for ending the marriage. This is a divorce petition. So these petitions are almost the same, only that here we are dealing with customary marriages. The other is a church marriage, but these petitions are all the same. So handling workshops and workshop CD mode. So please, I hope that I have helped you to summarize this workshop. For those of you who want to start discussions and would like to ask questions, please reach us on 075-6767-284. That's our WhatsApp numbers. Pass the bar. We have discussions every day from Monday up to Friday. We give you notes. We take you through the mode. We take you through orals. We take you through category B, ADR, legal writing, professional conduct, all those ones. So please, I wish you success from the bottom of my heart. This is very easy. Don't hear naysayers. I can promise you one thing, that this is very easy. Just do your part. Attend discussions, attend classes, listen, read. This will be very easy for you. Don't fear anyone. LDC has no bright students. Everyone is bright. Don't fear anyone. Just move your journey, and I'm telling you, God is on your side. I wish you success in your IA, which is going to be on Friday. Always, term 1 IAs, we are not always marked, but give it the best you can. You can